So welcome to the Red Cow, Luas Control Room here. So all Luas operations are controlled here from Red Cow. This centre here that we're in is open 24/7, 365 days of the year it's manned. In the AM peak hours, we would have had in or around 63 trams out in service in Dublin City. What a lot of people don't realise actually is the Green Line tram, for example, is one of the longest trams in the world. It can transport over 400 people in peak hours. And at St. Stephen's Green, for example, in the AM peak, we run trams approximately 3 minutes apart. So that's 400 people every 3 minutes can arrive into St. Stephen's Green in AM peak. So it's a really, really excellent service at moving a lot of people from the suburbs into the city centre. So we can see here at the moment, we have 4 traffic supervisors on. We have 2 looking after the red line service and 2 looking after the green line service. Again, we're just off the AM peak. Some of the trams come back in off AM peak. They get sanded and washed. So what a lot of people don't realise is that Luas trams actually carry a lot of sand on board. And they use that for traction and for braking. So that when they brake, instead of them slipping, they'll put a little bit of sand onto the track to get more adhesion. So they get sanded, they get washed, and they get put in storage. And then in around 3:30 today, they'll go back out into service to bring the number of trams up on the line for the PM peak. If we had a report of an incident, it would usually come in from one of our drivers to the controllers here, to the traffic supervisors here in the control room. And then they would start working on a plan to manage that incident, and that could be, if it's a serious incident, we might need to get emergency services to attend. If it's a minor incident, it might be just a case of, a car that's on the track that needs to be moved off the track, but it's all managed from this area. So they have a number of tools that they can use to manage the network. They have a lot of CCTV, so we have a very extensive CCTV network throughout the city. We also use systems like AVLS, or Automatic Vehicle Location System, and that shows us exactly where every tram is on the network, how it's performing against its timetable, and they can talk to each driver individually from this control room to find out what's happening on the ground. We can also dispatch our own team. So we have a big maintenance support team here at Luas. So and they're there to make sure that the trams are maintained, to be able to deal with incidents. They go on site to recover trams, for example, if they fail, or if we have an infrastructure fault. So we have a lot of track throughout the city, don't we? And we have a lot of overhead wires that all needs to be maintained. So these guys here would dispatch a response. And we have our own security teams as well, and revenue protection teams that can also be dispatched to an incident if required. Each of our controllers behind us would have started here as a Luas driver originally, and then they moved up the ranks from Luas driver to traffic supervisor. The controllers we have, the traffic supervisors, we have on duty here at the moment, they're all with us about 20 years. So huge operational experience. They really understand this railway and this city and how we operate, and they understand how to get the best out of the tram system, because ultimately that's delivering for our customers. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about delivering for our customers, we think about kind of some of the numbers that we have, so some of the passenger figures we have. 54.2 million people used the Luas last year. So the Luas is a massive success story. Roughly about 140,000 people will use this network today. And some days we can be a lot busier. Some days we can move nearly 200,000 people on this network. So we have 2 other depots apart from Red Cow. So Red Cow is a control facility, and it's also a big maintenance facility for the Red Line fleet. So it's our biggest depot. It's headquarters, if you like. The other 2 depots are Sandyford and Broombridge, and they're maintenance depots and also vehicle storage depots. So Sandyford would be the biggest one. It's after Red Cow, and that's based on the Green Line, and that's where we maintain the 502 fleet, which is some of the longest trams in the world. I suppose one of the questions that would have been asked before is like, what's the most difficult thing we would have seen in the city, and what was the most positive thing we've seen in the city? And it does relate to that one incident, which was actually back in November 2023 when we had the riots. We had a tram very badly damaged on O'Connell Street. We had quite a lot of our infrastructure damaged on O'Connell Street. We can see from the cameras here, we had a ringside view of what happened in the city centre, and it was, I suppose it was shocking. It was a sad event for the city. It was very sad for the guys who worked up here to see this happen to their city. But what we then seen over a period of a couple of days was the coming together of the city. We were expected to be stopped for a long period of time because of the damage that the network sustained. But within 24 hours, the teams rallied. We had engineers in that night to start repairing the overhead wires. Roads were re-tarmacked by the council. We worked with the other operators. We removed the damaged tram from upholstery, and we were able to reopen that network within 24 hours, which was a huge positive for us, positive for the city, and it was so good to see the way everybody pulled together to do that.